Bloating is not normal. What is actually causing this? These 3 foods can be very inflammatory and can cause a lot of that bloating and pain, that distension, that discomfort. One of my top supplements I use with my gut health clients that helps them get really quick bloating relief. It can really help you wake up less bloated, more energetic, and really support digestion. Things that I'm going to say in this video might be a little controversial. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share some tips and tools that you can use to get quick bloating relief. But first, if you're new here, my name is Asher Kleiber. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist, and I help women nourish their bodies so they can overcome bloating, digestive pain, and have abundant energy. Also, I apologize for this massive mic in front of my face. My lapel mic decided to die, so at least we have good audio. Grab a tea and let's jump in. Okay, so before we jump in, I just want to say first that bloating is not normal. If you've been told that it's something you just need to live with or deal with, or that it'll just be something you experience because of the way your digestive system is or health issues you're going through, that is not the truth. Bloating is not normal. We shouldn't be experiencing bloating on a regular basis. Yes, okay, occasional bloating, sure, that's totally normal, but regular bloating multiple times a week, that's not normal, and it's not something that we should just have to put up with and deal with. As someone who dealt with really extreme bloating for many years, we're talking 6 months pregnant type of bloat, I know firsthand what it feels like, how frustrating it is to deal with bloating, to not know what's causing it, what to do about it, or if I'm just gonna have to live this way forever. And it feels terrible when you're going through it. So I want to give you some hope and give you some tips that are going to really help you move the needle with your digestive health. So I want to talk about 4 different things today. First, we're going to talk about what actually causes bloating. And there's a lot of things, but we're going to touch on a few. The second one is I want to talk about foods that you're eating that are probably contributing to bloating and what you can eat instead. Third, I want to talk about how to eat differently to reduce bloating, because how we eat actually matters just as much as what you eat. And lastly, I want to share a supplement that I use with my gut health clients that helps them get really quick bloating relief. Okay, so first, what causes bloating? I think this is something that most people are asking themselves. I know I was asking myself this when I was starting my gut health journey. I just had no idea what was causing my bloating, and I would have done anything to get rid of it. But I first needed to learn, okay, what is actually causing this? What can I do differently? So some of the causes I'll share today, it's not a comprehensive list, but here are a few of the big ones. First is what you're eating. So there are a lot of different foods that will contribute to bloating and gas and other digestive symptoms, heartburn. And by swapping these foods for alternative foods, you're gonna feel a lot better. And oftentimes my gut health clients feel a difference in just 1 to 2 weeks. Another reason for bloating is you don't have enough stomach acid. Now, if you've ever gone to your doctor, maybe with heartburn, they have told you, hey, you have too much stomach acid, here's an antacid. This is a very common response, and oftentimes people with bloating, heartburn, digestive issues, oftentimes these people are not dealing with too much stomach acid. Usually it's the opposite, and we don't have enough stomach acid. Things that I'm going to say in this video might be a little controversial, but just hear me out. If we don't have enough stomach acid, our bodies can't properly break down our foods, specifically proteins, and this can lead to the increase of bad bacteria and gases and fermentation of foods that's going to cause that expansion in your gut and cause the bloating and pain. Another reason is that your liver and gallbladder are overburdened and congested. So this is extremely common in our modern society because there's a lot of things contributing to digestive overload, liver and gallbladder overload. The liver is the organ in your body that produces bile, which helps you digest fats, and the gallbladder helps to store bile. So if we're having issues with liver and gallbladder function, I'm not talking diseases, like not disease states, but if it's overburdened and congested, we can have issues with producing enough bile and therefore not being able to optimally break down things like fats. That is going to lead to bloating and constipation and other issues in the GI tract. Another really common reason for bloating is just slow transit time. So what I mean by that is basically your digestive system is not moving things through properly, as efficiently as it should be, as quickly as it should be. We don't want it to be too fast. We don't want it to be too slow. We want to kind of get that sweet spot. And if you are constipated, and mind you, most of my clients, they don't even know they're constipated until I start to talk about what a healthy bowel movement looks like. I know it's a glorious part of my job, but we want to see foot-long bowel movements 2 to 3 times a day. Any less than that, you're constipated. So this is a huge reason for women experiencing bloating, is that things just aren't moving properly. So we need to address that as well. Also, if you are eating or drinking things that are contributing to the buildup of bad bacteria, those bad bacteria and that unhealthy microbiome will cause the buildup of gases from the bacteria, and therefore the extension in our digestive systems, in the stomach, in the intestines, causing bloating. There's also a way that we're supposed to eat, which I'll touch on in a second, but if you're not eating the right way, that alone can be enough to cause some bloating and discomfort in the gut and reduce your body's ability to properly digest food. Okay, so now the second part I want to talk about is foods. So what foods could be contributing to bloating? I want to talk about 3 main categories of foods, and I can break this down in a further video if you want, but the top 3 things I recommend reducing or even eliminating ideally are refined sugars, gluten, and dairy. These 3 categories of foods can be very inflammatory for a lot of people and can cause a lot of that bloating and pain, that distension, that discomfort in our gut, as well as other symptoms outside of the gut. So these 3 areas I highly recommend reducing and ideally eliminating, even just for a time, to see how you feel without them. It's amazing when my clients start to do that. They're like, wow, this is actually how I'm supposed to feel, because they've been feeling so terrible for so long. We start removing the processed sugars and the gluten. They start to feel like new people within even just a couple weeks sometimes. So with sugars, let's talk about that first. When we're eating sugar, refined carbohydrates, refined processed foods, these foods are not ideal for developing and fueling healthy bacteria. So they are going to fuel unhealthy, bad bacteria. They're going to cause dysbiosis in the gut, which is when we have this imbalance of good and bad bacteria in the gut and other microbes. So it's causing inflammation, it's fueling bad bacteria, it is depleting the good guys. Okay, so then we have imbalances. It also depletes nutrients and other things. So the refined sugar is just not a great thing to have in the gut. It contributes to leaky gut or intestinal hyperpermeability. First thing is we gotta get the sugars down, specifically the refined sugars. The second one is gluten. Gluten can be very problematic for a lot of people. Gluten we're consuming these days is very high in the gluten protein. So gluten is a protein found in wheat. It's not just in things like breads, pastries, pasta, baked goods. Gluten is found in a lot of other things as well, but I would definitely start with the big guys like the breads and the baked goods, and try to just stick more to whole foods as much as possible. So don't go to the junky gluten-free stuff, but just try to get the big grain-based foods down and just focus on whole foods. Gluten has been shown to increase leaky gut in the literature, and it is definitely a big problem when it comes to digestion. Definitely recommend to reduce, ideally eliminate, even if it's just for a time, to see how your body responds to it. Most times, all the time, when I do this with my clients, they feel so much better. So I highly recommend. The third category of foods would be dairy. Dairy can be really problematic for a lot of people for digestion. It can definitely cause bloating, inflammation in the gut. A lot of people just don't tolerate it well. We don't have the proper enzymes to digest dairy. It's a problem for a lot of people. I would recommend trying to reduce the dairy as well. You'll likely have better bowel movements. You'll probably have clearer skin. A lot of other things can happen in a positive way when we start to reduce and eliminate these foods as much as we can. Okay, so what the heck do you eat instead? I get that question a lot. We've removed or at least reduced significantly the sugars, the gluten, and the dairy, and a lot of those processed foods. What we want to focus on instead are animal-based proteins. Okay, animal-based proteins are going to give you great, high-quality, easily digestible protein compared to plant-based proteins. We want to focus on vegetables, so those whole foods, and you want to get your healthy fats in. So things like olives, olive oil, coconut products like coconut oil, different nuts and seeds, and just, again, really stick to those whole unprocessed foods. Another type of food I'd recommend adding in are digestive bitters. So bitter foods like dark leafy greens like Swiss chard, arugula, radicchio, those bitter foods, bitter teas as well, like green tea, those foods that you eat and you're like, oh, that's kind of bitter, I don't really like that, or like I need something sweet with it. Those are the type of foods that are going to help to support your body's production of bile, your liver's production of bile, which is going to help you break down fats. It's great for liver detoxification, great for bile and gallbladder support, and awesome for helping you reduce bloating for those reasons. One more food I'd recommend including in your diet is apple cider vinegar. You've probably heard it's like a miracle cure. I wouldn't say that, but I will say there's so many benefits to apple cider vinegar, especially when it comes to digestion. So how I would recommend using it, first of all, you don't want to use it if you have an ulcer or gastritis or like really, really irritated stomach lining. If your doctor's told you that, you want to avoid apple cider vinegar for a while until you get the inflammation down. But apple cider vinegar is really, really helpful for supporting your digestive fire. Okay, what I mean by that is we have hydrochloric acid in our stomach and it is necessary. This acid production, like we've talked about, is necessary for protein breakdown and helping you digest your foods. The better we can digest our foods, the less buildup of bad bacteria and gases we'll have that contribute to bloating. What I would recommend trying is do a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in about a quarter of a cup of water, in filtered water, and just shoot it back about 5 minutes before a meal. You can start with a teaspoon if you want, like ease into it, but I usually recommend about a tablespoon and take it before your meals, 5 minutes before your meals. It's going to help increase your levels of hydrochloric acid and help you better break down foods so you don't feel super bloated. Apple cider vinegar also has other benefits, so many benefits. It has antimicrobial benefits, it helps to fight bacteria and keep your microbiome healthier, it helps with weight loss, blood sugar regulation, so many other things. So it's a really good one to add in if you can. Part 3, I want to talk about how you can reduce bloating through the way that you eat. So how do we eat to reduce bloating? Now, there's 2 things I want to mention. The first one is timing of meals. So if you are eating all day long, which I mean most of us are these days, if you're eating all day long and you don't have any space between your meals, that is a big stress on your digestive system because it is always working. It's always trying to break down and digest and process your foods. So I would recommend spacing your meals by at least 4 hours. So between breakfast and lunch, space it out 4 hours. Between lunch and dinner, space it out 4 hours. Reducing snacks can be helpful because when you give that 4-hour window, it activates something in your intestines called the migrating motor complex. I know it's a big fancy word. Basically, it's how your body clears bacteria. By leaving this 4-hour window between meals, between snacks, between anything that could activate this digestive system, like anything with calories essentially, it's going to help you better clear bacteria, clear waste, get your digestive system moving better, improving that motility, really helping you reduce bloating as well as other symptoms. Now, on the same line of thinking, I would also recommend trying to not eat at least 3 hours before bed. What you're doing here is basically a gentle form of intermittent fasting. You're taking a break from food before bed, which is not the time we're supposed to be digesting our food, right? When we lay down, our digestive system is not supposed to be kicking into high gear, trying to digest all our food. It's supposed to be resting. It's supposed to be detoxifying. This is a time when your body is supposed to clear and detoxify and activate these deep detox mechanisms. So just by not eating a few hours before bed, it can really help you wake up less bloated, more energetic, and really support digestion. Lastly, I want to share one of my top supplements for helping you reduce bloating fast. Of course, I do recommend working on your diet, changing your foods up, making sure you're supporting your foundations. But this one supplement can be really, really helpful if you are still needing some support. Also, if you're just out and you know you're not going to be eating the way that you maybe want to be eating to support digestion, maybe your foods are going to be a little off, or maybe you're traveling and you just need a little bit extra support, I would recommend a high quality digestive enzyme. Not just any digestive enzyme. I personally recommend a product to my clients called digestzymes by Designs for Health. This product doesn't just contain digestive enzymes. It also has a few other key ingredients that are going to help just support other areas of your digestive system as well. It has enzymes in it to help you break down fats, carbs, and proteins. So it's going to get that first part of your digestive system functioning better so you have a better chance of actually being able to digest and absorb and assimilate your foods. It also has a specific enzyme in it. It's called dipeptidyl peptase. It's an enzyme that helps you better break down gluten. Even if you don't think you have a sensitivity to gluten, this one can be really helpful just in case you have exposures, because again, like I said, oftentimes a lot of people are sensitive to gluten and they don't know it, and it's causing issues for them. Okay, so it has the broad spectrum digestive enzymes, but it also has a couple other things. It has HCl, which is hydrochloric acid. So that's what we mentioned, like when you take the apple cider vinegar, it helps boost hydrochloric acid. So instead of the apple cider vinegar, you could do this one supplement and it will already have it kind of built into it with this acid. So it's going to help you better break down your foods. It also helps support things like immunity. It's really good for supporting that very first part of your digestive process, which is getting your proteins better broken down in the stomach. And oftentimes that's where a lot of the putrefaction and fermentation happens that causes that bloating and distension. Digestzymes also contains ox bile. This is going to help you break down proteins because it actually contains bile, which is something our bodies do produce, like I said, but sometimes we just need a little boost. So this one can really help with a lot of digestive symptoms: nausea, heartburn, bloating, constipation, discomfort in the GI tract. So I have this product linked down below. I have a bloating and gas bundle that I'm linking to in the description. You guys can check it out. It has 3 products in it. If you get anything, I would start with the digestive enzyme just because it's going to give you that really quick relief. But if you want to try all 3, it's going to give you the best chance of really having some good support for digestion, bloating, and gas relief. There's a really good magnesium in there too, especially if you think you might have a little bit of constipation or slow gut motility. I'd highly recommend that one as well. I hope you guys found these tips helpful. I would love to hear, where do you really struggle the most with your digestive system? Is it bloating? What have you tried? What have you done? What has helped you? Feel free to comment down below and leave any questions you have in the comments. I would be happy to make more videos like this if you guys have certain questions you want me to answer. So feel free to comment down below. Thank you guys so much for being here. And remember, you were made to flourish. I'll see you in the next one.